Okay, so I suppose one of the contexts at least is to understand the hackathon model better, partly by applying it to different areas, and also to see whether or not it could be useful in other areas. And so the intention is, is it a methodology born out of the digital economy and digital cultures that might be useful elsewhere?
So that was the initial. Was that your initial impulse as well? Was your
initial? Well, to phrase it nicely, I think that is what it is. In the beginning, I was just curious about really making it really quickly, making stuff up really quickly, and disposal of those ideas with a new group of people. So that was. It just started from there and rolled into what happened now. I think.
Because it's developed a lot, hasn't it?
It has.
Those initial. One of the things that I have found just from the time that you originally told me, when I didn't really know much about hackathons and sort of learned through via you guys, was that it was hard for me to not keep seeing massive holes in the system and sort of failures of the system. So that was already an interesting thing for me to kind of be approaching it for how to make it. From my point of view, it was about how can I make a hackathon better, rather than how can a hackathon be used for other models. Of course, there was a lot of flowing backwards and forwards between it, because I think there's a lot of things that we just spoke about stealing from the hackathon for these processes.
I think your comments actually helped me to recognise that better, which is that it's a very free model. So in a sense, there's an element of you put the essential elements in there, you kickstart it off, and then it's like putting a cake in the oven. You then wait for it to come out, and it may or may not work. And with hackathons, traditionally there can be issues of a lack of participants showing up as one risk. There can also be a risk of teams that form in a suboptimal manner, and then also therefore the risk that you don't manage to get any digital innovation out at the end. So the aim would be that you get some kind of innovation with digital technologies at the end, and of course there's a risk that doesn't happen for a number of reasons. And the model of hackathons, mostly how that it's utilised, is little is done to mitigate those risks. There is sometimes, some suggestions about what the makeup for teams should be, and so forth. But really, it's been as a very much a free environment. We'll put some people together, give them some stuff, we'll allow them to work, and we hope that something interesting comes out. And I think that helped me to realise that this was part of why the competitive element and the prizes was given, because there was so little structure. That was one way to kind of encourage an outcome that you desired for the organisers.
Well, the thing that came up was agendas of the people participating being a driving force in shaping the event. In some ways.
Yeah, and I think in terms of intentions, there is this intention of using other models of artistic development and methodologies for collaboration in multidisciplinary environments to better equip the participants to reach that point. And so I guess from our point of view, when we started investing in this idea, was okay, how can we develop a methodology or a structure that has embedded in it a kind of support system or some tools that will take those participants from a natural stage of interaction to a kind of inspired and in a way warmed up way of using the best of their abilities in a collaborative space. I think that's part of the intention, or it ended up being part of the intention, that in order to use the hackathon for the art or for an artistic environment, you can't just assume that people will know what's intended out of the event, but B, that they are at the best of their creative ability at that point in the day.
Having a hackathon type of environment, I guess it gives access to or give the participants access to space. You know, they're being fed for 2 days, they have space for 2 days, and collaborators that they won't necessarily meet in their original sort of the circle that they work within.
It's part of that interdisciplinary approach as well.
Yeah, and it's I think the resource is quite scarce. You know, you have to pay for space, and therefore you have the what do you call that? You feel that you have to get something out of it if it was your own money that you invested in. Whereas if we give them the space, will the creative process be different? Would their headspace be different in terms of that creating stuff? So that was the original intentions.
I think that's a good point. I think when we talked about the intentions just a moment ago, it was from the point of view of organisers and organising of events or such events. But I suppose interestingly, the intentions for the participants is more centred around what you describe. You know, the potential to meet others interested in the same subjects, topics, but perhaps with different expertise, and to gain something from the interaction and the networking, which is certainly proved to be an important aspect in hackathons. You know, people do go there for the opportunity to network and meet others and to learn.